so that maybe there are proactive steps we can take to ensure that folks are showing up.
We've done that.
Yeah.
We've done that more than once with the commissioners. I personally have only missed one meeting since 2013, but that's just because that's the way I am. So and I'm committed to this work. So a lot of times people might not be as committed as other people, but we've tried everything except for bringing serving. I mean, we even got hot breakfast over there. I'm sure there's breakfast in the room today. We have hot breakfast. We have hot coffee. We don't have a prize for people. We just don't give a prize, but we keep trying. We've done that. Thank you, though, for that suggestion.
Oh, I just want to make a comment here in the space too that
Elena, it's really hard to hear you.
Yeah, here I have my headphones in, so I'll talk as loud as I can. But I just, I've brought this up several times, and I think other commissioners have as well. But just outside of commissioners, I think, I understand, Reverend Walden, you've shared this before in the past, why we haven't adjusted our meeting time or public meetings, I should say. But I think that, it might be, and I'm sad that Felicia's not here too. But I think we have more community engagement when we are doing our meetings outside of work hours. It is such a privilege that I can take 2 hours off during my workday, having 2 full-time jobs to be here and to show up, because I made a commitment to. I also want to hold space for people that, life happens and people are carrying really heavy things right now. I'm not making an excuse. I'm just trying to hold the duality of like multiple things can be true at the same time. And maybe this would be a good time for the commission to explore having meetings outside of this time that we have set aside. I know that would be an adjustment for staff and for staff and Brandy and your team. Like, I also want to acknowledge the need, because this work is heavy, to care for your team. Also, I wouldn't want your workday to extend because we're trying to do something different. So I just want to call that into the space also. Is there a way to adjust those working hours for yourselves to do that? But I think we would have more people show up if we had these meetings in the evening. It's just not accessible for I think most people, and what I'm getting from kind of this situation where people are not consistently showing up is that people are tapped out right now. So I'm trying to approach this from a caring perspective too. I'm also frustrated we can't have the meeting. I know the community is frustrated, I would assume, because they made time to be here too, but I'm trying to approach this in a way that is giving people just in a caring way. I think it would be, if we can find a way to, make this outside of daytime work hours for those of us that have the privilege of being able to show up, I think that would be helpful.
Thank you, Alina. This is Commissioner Merkel, Co-Chair Merkel. I want to just acknowledge everything you said. I completely agree with it. When I, made my commitment to be on the commission, I understood that the commission's meetings were during work hours, and it does place a burden on everybody who, especially, those of us who have other commitments during work hours, like a job, for example. That said, I agree. It's worth looking at whether we can adjust the meetings to evenings. I don't think it's the first time we've looked at I don't think this is the first time it's been brought up that maybe we can do that. But I think there's some other challenges to doing that. But I will commit to you as a co-chair to bring that up in discussion and see what's possible. The other thing I will mention that's, I think, unique about this year is, and why you've probably heard me mention in many meetings since going back to August, why we're really focused on commissioner recruitment and appointment and reappointing commissioners whose terms expire, is we are currently down about 5 to 6 commissioners. The 2017 accountability ordinance sets out that our commission is to be made up of 21 members of the community. And right now, I think we only have about 15 or 16 members. And of those 15 or 16, there are a small handful that routinely are not showing up. And we've been really putting an effort into reaching out to those commissioners and asking them if they're interested in remaining on the commission, and to really, let us know that they're willing to recommit to the work of the commission and show up to the meetings and do the work group work. When they don't, the burden falls on the rest of us who are showing up. So I just want to acknowledge everything you said. It's something that I've been really concerned about as a commissioner, and why I've put a lot of my energy and time as a co-chair in making sure we have a full commission, and why I've been working so hard with the city council and the mayor's office on getting appointees through the process so that we can we should have 21 commissioners at all time, as far as I'm concerned. So it's frustrating as a co-chair that we don't right now, but we are working really hard on that. And I just wanted to remind you that, or let you know that, because I know I hear what you say, and it's completely valid.
Yeah, but also we need the ones who show up to also be part of the work groups, because with that, I mean, we can get a quorum, but if we don't have people to be participating in the work group, well, then the other work doesn't get done that the staff is working on, or that we're bringing to the commission to the staff to work on. So so it's a double-edged sword. I mean, it's both and getting more commissioners on, and also getting the ones who are on the commission to be participating in the work groups. That's why some of the work groups had to be disbanded, because we didn't have, we had to be set aside until the fall, until we can get more people engaged in those work groups. And unfortunately, other people had to move on. Catherine was and then Douglas, not Douglas, but Austin and a few other people have moved on because they have other job commitments. So anyway, so it's both and getting more commissioners engaged, and also making a commitment to work on a work group. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just to piggyback on what Reverend Walden said, whatever time we decide to have our meetings as a commissioner, we have to have the commitment of the commissioners to show up, because we can decide we're going to meet at 7 o'clock on Thursday night and still not have a quorum. So it feels like it has been like pulling teeth to get commissioners to tell us what work group, whether they want to continue as a commissioner into 2023, and it shouldn't be that hard for those who do show up. So I think if there's no other comments, then we can just close this meeting, and we will meet again on the 21st of December at 9 o'clock.
Sorry,
Thank you,
Reverend
everyone.
Joel, I'll reach out to you separately, based on what you said. I don't know that we've ever had an evening meeting, so I don't.
Yes, we have.
Well, consistently, so I don't want to shoot that down. And I'm also not. I just want to be clear that I'm not trying to center myself as a commissioner advocating for something outside of working hours, but for community folks. There are a lot of more people that show up to those community engagement meetings because they're in the evening. So I don't. Not everybody has the privilege of being able to drive downtown or even join a meeting in the middle of the workday. And that might also speak to why some commissioners have had to move on to other things. I'm not saying that that's the reason, but that might be part of it. So I would love to chat more about this. And if there are ways that I can support, making that happen, maybe we do a trial period or a trial run. I'll email you and Brandy regardless.
And if you could also let us know, Elena, what work group you'd like to work with, that would be helpful.
The work group that I was in with Shailene and Nia, that kind of disbanded, and then I didn't hear back. I know that they've both moved on since. So
right, but we've mentioned it in the last 3 meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, so if Felicia is still looking for, I'm not going to be the only person in a work group. So if that, that's also speaks to, other commissioners and capacity. But yeah, if Felicia is still looking for people in the community engagement meeting, which I think I still have on my calendar. I didn't have that on my calendar the past 6 months, once because I was out over the summer, and then 2, I let Felicia know that I had a standing King County council or equity cabinet meeting at that day, but that has changed. So my schedules are more available, but if there are other commissioners on that community engagement committee, that would be great also.
Thank you, Leah. I look forward to continuing talking with you.
There's a hand up. We have a
Jeremy
hand up
Walden.
from
Jeremy.
Thank you, Reverend Walden. Yeah, I've asked by email in the past. Since I joined, I've been trying to find out information on the standing work groups and who to contact to get involved in them. And it might just be an issue with my access to my .gov email, similar to some other folks have had. But just raising that, and would love to get more involved in the work groups.
Oh, well, thank you.
Jeremy, if you want to email the co-chairs, you know, it's our responsibility to ultimately make sure the work groups have commissioners on them. If you could let us know if you have a preference, but our intention is to make sure all the commissioners are assigned a work group by the end of this month, so that heading into January, those work groups can start hitting the ground running. So if you have a preference on which one you want to be on, let us know, because our intention is to have that announced by the next meeting in 2 weeks.
Fantastic. I'll do that. Thanks, Joel.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. See you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.